This time of the year isn't just about the players who were selected on draft day, but it's also the undrafted free agent players who have signed with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, when you look back a little bit before we get into some of these names and give you a little bit of an introduction into who these players are, the San Francisco 49ers have found success with undrafted free agents in many different instances in the past. When you think of guys like Emmanuel Mosley and what he was able to do as an undrafted free agent, or Jordan Mason and what he's done currently with the San Francisco 49ers, beating out two former drafted running backs to remain on the roster. Although going undrafted, these are names that we should be paying attention to and get to know as we get ready to see how they fare in their first NFL training camp. So, this is the list put out by Matt Mayoko of the players that the San Francisco 49ers have signed via the undrafted free agent market pool. And the name that jumps off this list right away is Terique Owens, wide receiver out of Missouri State. And the reason why he jumps right off the screen is because his dad, Terrell Owens, played for the San Francisco 49ers and was a phenomenal player at that. So we heard a lot about the legacy players and the San Francisco 49ers opting not to take Brendan Rice or Luke McCaffrey. And we saw that Frank Gore Jr. wound up with the Bills. The San Francisco 49ers land Owens, the 6'2", 200-pound wide receiver who ran a 4.5 40. This is a guy who didn't have a ton of production or highlights or things like that after landing at Missouri State after transferring from Florida Atlantic. But hey, the 49ers get a guy who has obviously some solid bloodline. So we'll see what he turns into with the Niners, if anything. Tanner Mordecai, quarterback out of Wisconsin. We knew the San Francisco 49ers were going to need more quarterback depth as they head into this season right now with Brock Purdy, Joshua Dobbs, and Brandon Allen. But the 49ers typically like to have four quarterbacks in training camp, and this is the fourth arm that they will have. Just this past season with Wisconsin, Mordecai had a passer rating of 87.9, threw for just over 2,000 yards, and had a 65% completion percentage. He had 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and as you can see, he didn't play all that much with Wisconsin, but he does have some interesting history. He started out at Oklahoma. He was at Oklahoma for 3 years. Then he transferred to SMU, and then he finished his final season at Wisconsin. He's played a decent amount of football. He really has. And he's put up some good numbers at times. When you look at what he did at SMU in 2022, he had 3,500 passing yards, 33 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. So he has had some production in college, but he was a pretty high prospect to be able to go play at Oklahoma out of high school. He also has some speed. He runs a 4.46 40-yard dash, which has him in the 98th percentile of all quarterbacks tested, and his vertical is also in the 95th percentile. So he definitely is coming in to be a camp arm. His best shot is to make the practice squad, and we'll see if he sticks around. I think one of the more intriguing undrafted free agents is Cody Schrader, the running back out of Mizzou, the 5'8", 202-pound RB, had 1,600 rushing yards last year at 5.9 a clip, 14 rushing touchdowns, 22 receptions for 191 yards. That's a lot of production for a running back like this to go undrafted. It really is quality production for this guy. Now, one of the reasons that he maybe went undrafted is his 40 time was not all that great. Ran a 4.61. It doesn't show a ton of burst or long speed on film. However, he does have a really good ability to rush. Like, he finds running lanes, he hits them with great angles, and he's able to be a huge producer as a result. So the San Francisco 49ers got a running back that might be someone who Maybe not, this year plays a big role, but with some time and acclimating to the NFL game, he could maybe be a guy that finds some success. I mean, I think we think pure speed is needed in order to have success in Kyle's scheme, but kind of watching him, I was getting some Alfred Morris vibes, and we know what Alfred Morris was able to do with Kyle Shanahan. So maybe this guy could have a role. He looks like a ball player. He really looks solid. But the San Francisco 49ers also were able to get a undrafted free agent starting center for the Michigan Wolverines, Drake Nugent. 6'2", 298 pounds. I mean, this guy just anchored the center of an offensive line that won the national championship. He started out at Stanford, has some ties from the Stanford Cardinal as a former captain for them. And then he transferred to Michigan as a fifth-year senior, and he started in 13 games and played 729 snaps. He gave up 7 quarterback hurries, 1 quarterback hit, but no sacks while playing center for the Wolverine. He does have a bit of some nastiness to him. He is a guy that is a little smaller, but you can see the football IQ. And I mean, to come in and anchor that offensive line unit, that's pretty special. So it'll be interesting to see what he does in training camp. Again, a little bit smaller, and you can see that. But the 49ers might find something here where they could develop him into potentially a center of the future, but he definitely will have a shot at making the practice squad. The San Francisco 49ers also signed Furman tight end Mason Pline. Now, this guy's got some size, 6'7", 260 pounds. He played 13 games last year. He had 32 receptions, 287 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So not a crazy big production type guy, but he did get invitations to the Hula Bowl and the East West Shrine game, which is probably where he caught the 49ers' eye. But he does appear to be a pretty solid athlete for his size. And the San Francisco 49ers have also had some success with undrafted free agent tight ends when you think of Ross Dwelly and how long he's stuck around the San Francisco 49ers as an undrafted free agent. Now, the 49ers brought in another center, Bryson Mays, out of Southern Miss. He actually was a transfer from West Virginia, where he started a good amount of games with them. He had 23 career appearances and 7 starts, and then he transferred to Southern Miss, where he finished his career. He again will be another guy that will be competing for a center role on the practice squad. But the 49ers have clearly been what appears to be looking for a potential center of the future. So it'll be interesting if any one of these guys sticks. The 49ers brought in Evan Anderson, and this might be the guy that has the best chance at making the practice squad, as he got a decent payday to sign with the San Francisco 49ers. He has that DJ Jones build of 6 foot, 320 pounds, a nose tackle type build, a guy that's just going to kind of plop down right there in between the A gaps and just clog up holes. Last year, he played 12 games with a total of 535 snaps. He had 28 tackles, 14 assists, and 27 stops. He did have 16 total pressures as a pass rusher, 10 quarterback hurries, and 5 sacks. So this guy could be a sleeper, especially if he can make the active roster. It'll be interesting to see how he fares, but I'm going to keep my eye out on this guy. And then you also have Jalen Mahoney coming over from Vanderbilt. The 5'11 DB was a team captain in 2023. He was honorable mention All SEC. He started all 11 games for Vandy last year. He's tied for 4th in program history with 17 career pass breakups. He was fifth among SEC safeties in Pro Football Focus run defense grade. This is a guy who's played a lot of football in the SEC. So this is again another sleeper pick of someone who has a lot of experience and has done a lot. I mean, he had 55 tackles last season, and he's pretty much kind of been around there since he was a sophomore. 57 tackles as a sophomore, 53 tackles as a junior, 55 tackles as a senior. So he's an active player and could definitely help add some depth to that safety room. But this is the list of the undrafted free agents that the San Francisco 49ers have brought in. Do you think any of these guys have a chance to make the active roster out of training camp? If so, let me know who that is in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.